and we have agreed that we will start training them, we will start capacity building, and we will start making sure that we change our culture. I don't want to tell you, Excellency, today is your day. I have seen now that you are tax compliant. Now you can even apply for Hasrafad. And even a small business, you can do a small tender if you qualify, but now you have qualified because you have got the tax compliance. So with those few and many remarks, it is my pleasure to invite our Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, to come and address these colleagues of mine. Welcome, Deputy President.
Your Excellency, President William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Chairman of the Board of Directors, KRA, the Acting Commissioner General, senior officials and members of staff of KRA, good morning. Your Excellency, it's always a pleasure to accompany you around the country as you make various interventions for the economic transformation of our great republic. Your Excellency, you have become the foremost ambassador that the way to build our country is not to borrow, but to generate our own revenue for both our recurrent and development expenditure. Your Excellency, on behalf of all those who work under you, I want to encourage you that you are on the right trajectory. The way to build a country, the way to transform a country's economy is to harness our own resources. I know many people are uncomfortable that you have made a policy shift from borrowing money from external sources and internally to creating our own revenue base to fund and finance our expenditure. Your Excellency, you are under pressure across the country to build roads. As we speak today, we have pending bills over 900 billion for roads that have stalled, and those roads need to be unlocked, and money must be gotten from somewhere. As we speak, we have elderly persons who receive the cash transfer program, whose money needs to be collected. And that is why all of us and the people of Kenya must support you, that we must collect taxes, we must seal all the loopholes, and ensure that we have a seamless and efficient revenue collection system to fund our both recurrent and development expenditure. So we want to urge our detractors, those who are all over having issues, that there is a deliberate effort to make tax collection efficient and to collect taxes due, to give us an alternative model on how to deal with our budgetary requirements as a country. Because short of collecting revenue, the other only available avenue is to borrow money. And this money must be paid someday. And had we continued with the arrangement that was there, Your Excellency, of borrowing money every day, this country would have had an economic shutdown in another 2, 3, 4 years. So, Your Excellency, we want to encourage you that what you are pursuing is the right economic intervention, and in the fullness of time, the people of Kenya will come to appreciate. Before I call Your Excellency, I want to encourage the officers of the Kenya Revenue Authority to be a professional organization. The year before, this organization was used in a negative manner to persecute people politically using taxation. And that should never have happened, and it should never happen again. We want to assure you that President William Ruto and those of us who work under him will never ask you to use taxation to pursue those who are opposed to his leadership. If there are people, and they are there, who are opposed to his leadership, they will be handled politically. And the political way is where he is a master. And I assist him in managing politics in a political way. We shall never ask you as KRA officials to help us to manage politics, to ask you to deal with our opponents. That is not your work. Your work is to prudently and in a very pragmatic manner to collect all taxes due for the benefit of the people of this country. And we want to commend you so far. Kenyans are happy that there is no harassment. There is very proactive engagement where people are unable to pay. You are able to sit down with them, agree on a payment plan that is practical for the benefit of this country and for posterity. With those very many remarks, please be upstanding and help me to usher in the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto. Karibu, Mr. President.
Asante sana, Bwana Deputy President. Please, let's take our seats. Good morning, everybody. Asanteni sana kwa kutukaribisha hapa katika Times Tower. The chair of the Board of KRA, Madam Acting CG, senior staff members of KRA, staff members, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am here today to undertake a very important personal obligation, which I believe by virtue of the office I hold ought to be made visible to all Kenyans as a signal of my commitment to fulfill my duties as a citizen, as a leader, and as President of Kenya. Let me state for the record that I have always endeavored to be fully tax compliant and to remit my taxes due to government in full, and I try always in time. This exercise is not a mere dramatization or other empty public performance. It is something I believe in wholeheartedly, and it is something I cherish. It is my duty, and indeed the duty of every citizen of Kenya, to pay their share of taxes to enable the government provide essential public services and goods. This is the only way to lay the foundation for the pursuit and achievement of economic growth, sustainable development, and prosperity that we can all share. Our taxes build our roads and the entire national transport network, build and run our hospitals, our schools, courts of law, and provide defense and national security services. They also finance social safety nets for the vulnerable around our country. Kenyans cannot afford all these services on their own, and the very few who can afford some pay a very high price per unit. Public goods demonstrate the advantages of living in a community, and paying taxes enables us to finance the provision of this service. And let me mention that the progress of society is not measured by the few who can afford. It is not measured by the wealth of the few. It is measured by the quality of public goods available to everybody. It is measured by the quality of the roads we can build, the quality of education that we have, the quality of hospitals that we have, the quality of an even greater number to join the tax-paying bracket. The more the shoulders, the lighter the burden. We must therefore stand together in this endeavor and do our part to keep our country on the path to self-sufficiency and the path of greatness. Although taxes are mandatory and unavoidable, a government that seeks to mobilize tax revenues must inspire confidence that tax administration will be fair, effective, efficient, and that the allocation and expenditure of the finances will be undertaken transparently and accountably in pursuit of agreed public causes and public services and public goods. This means that the Revenue Administration Agency must be professional efficient, fair, transparent, and most importantly, accountable. It also means that the government is expected to be honest and vigilant stewards of public resources. The Kenya Revenue Authority has come a long way. It has in commendable ways played its role of collecting revenue from far and wide, and thus enabled the government of Kenya to meet many of its national, including international, obligations. But as I mentioned during the annual Taxpayers Week, Kenya Revenue Authority has some way to go in becoming the fit-for-purpose National Revenue Administration agency that Kenya needs at this point in our development journey. Although there is steady growth of revenue mobilized by the authority over the years, it remains far short of our potential. You heard me mention the other day that we are collecting around 15% of our revenue from taxes as a percentage of GDP. Countries who are peers to Kenya, I remember giving examples of, South Africa, Morocco, Tunisia. They collect between 22 and 25%, actually 28% of GDP. The management, board and management of KRA need to ask yourselves, how come we are collecting 15% of GDP while our peers are collecting 25% of GDP? That's the question that must exercise your minds, both in Treasury, at the board level, the senior management, and the staff of this great institution. At a time when the state of our national finances is not good, especially in the context of the radical measures that must be undertaken urgently to transform the country and the economy, KRA has remained lackluster in its performance. I say so because I am speaking to you now from your abode. Although tax revenue has grown steadily in recent years, the tax base remains far short of its full potential. The authority continues to maximize collection from existing taxpayers through processes and technologies that sometimes belong to the bygone era, including disruptive stoppages of revenue-generating operations, summary actions, time-consuming, laborious, and inefficient assessment methods, and a flagrant penchant for intimidation through arbitrary prosecution. KRA must acquire a new image. You must build a new image, an image that when people come to Times Tower, they don't come here trembling. They come here looking forward to being served. Additionally, I must tell you, collusion, bribe-taking, and general corruption continue to pervade operations of KRA, facilitating tax evasion, massive leakages of potential revenue, and inability to meet revenue targets. You know what I'm saying is true. You know what I'm saying is true. And I'm going to repeat it again. Collusion, wanton bribe-taking, and general corruption continues to pervade the operations of this organization. There are many people who are encouraged, who are facilitated by KRA staff not to pay tax. And you know what I'm saying is true. You know very well we would be collecting more money than we are doing, but because we have staff in KRA who do not work for the government of Kenya, they work for themselves. And they work for other entities. And their biggest assignment is to assist taxpayers, not to pay tax, but to assist taxpayers to evade paying tax. And there are many examples, good people. There are many examples. If we ask Kenyans to step forward and name the people who normally facilitate them not to pay tax, I don't know how many members of staff will remain in KRA. It has also been noted that KRA has not embraced a culture of supporting and facilitating taxpayers, alternative dispute resolution, and the deployment of efficient technologies to improve revenue performance. Let me say this again, and I'm saying it politely. You know that KRA is technology averse. In fact, it is public information that any attempt to digitize, to professionalize KRA has been met by a lot of resistance from staff in KRA. Because technology will make it easy for taxpayers to pay. And there wouldn't be opportunities for people to collude and evade tax. And I'm saying this looking at you guys in your eyes. You know that it has been difficult to roll out technology, that it has been sabotaged by staff in KRA. And it hasn't been sabotaged for any good reason. It has been sabotaged because it seals loopholes of rent-seeking, evasion, collusion, corruption, and that kind of thing. In particular, the resistance to the introduction and upgrading of revenue administration technologies is an emphatic signal of the corporate culture of an organization that is not willing to do its job, which suggests that arbitrary, opaque, and fundamentally corruptible revenue collection methods are the preferred modus operandi. It is expected that high costs will be cited as the excuse, because I keep hearing, oh, we do not have enough money to do this, we do not have enough money to do that. But I remember having a meeting with the acting CG and staff members who came to see me. And I gave them a simple example. I asked them, the people who do betting, because those people who do betting, they pay staff at KRA. And you know they do. So that they don't have to pay all the taxes that are due to the government of Kenya. So I asked, why don't we digitize? Why don't we sit down with Safaricom and tell Safaricom, look, as these people bet, why do we have to wait up to 20th? Why don't we split? As somebody is betting, we know what tax is. Let us integrate the system between KRA, Safaricom, and the betting companies. When somebody places a bet, you know, the money for betting goes this way, the taxes go the other way, and everybody is good. And we don't have to have a meeting on the 20th of every month. We can finish that business instantly. You know, we did that. And the numbers that are being paid by our betting companies has changed. Why did I have to do that? I am not a member of KRA. Are you telling me that there aren't intelligent people in KRA who should have thought about that? Or they thought about it, but instead of collecting money for the government of Kenya, they decided to collect money for themselves. My friends, you know what I'm saying is true, don't you? And if you doubt, I can come and tell you who it is that has been paid this money. So, and I have come here to have a honest conversation with you. And I will not accept that you telling me that technology is difficult. How much money did we have to spend to get the betting companies to pay their full share of revenue that they are supposed to do? It costs us nothing. It is a commitment to do it that we need. And therefore, we all know what's going on, don't we? A culture of corruption, good people, collusion, inefficiency, and unprofessionalism is much more costly to the country than any efficient technology will ever be. And I'm telling you this with a lot of clarity. It is therefore imperative that the authority urgently undertakes serious and effective culture change throughout the organization and expeditiously adopts and implements the best technologies to facilitate efficient revenue mobilization. I had a long chat last week, not last week, this week, is it? Yeah, this week, with the management of KRA. We went through the motions. We are having another meeting. When is it? The other week on Monday. Because I have to be honest with you, I have to be candid, because I have a job to do. And I need us to work in concert. I need us to work with synergy so that you can do your part in building our nation by doing what the government of Kenya has hired you to do. No, effective. Kenyans expect us to expeditiously deliver on what we need to do. And let me say, that expectation is legitimate. Kenyans expect no less, they deserve no less, and they are entitled to no less. But the problem is not confined to KRA. The government in general must do much more to build public confidence that it can and will manage public resources honestly, efficiently, transparently, and accountably. The Constitution mandates it, the law requires it, and basic decency demands us to do it. The big question that many Kenyans ask me, and you know very well that I am a very big advocate of Kenya Revenue Authority. You know that. I have gone out of my way to work with you to sensitize, to mobilize Kenyans, to come forward, to explain why each and every one of us must pay tax. I am right at the forefront in sensitizing Kenyans, mobilizing Kenyans to pay tax. I am essentially your unpaid worker. I don't know whether Madam CG will consider a stipend for me for doing all what I'm doing. But the question many Kenyans ask me is, how are we sure that we will all pay? Because we must all be equal. Because the people who have connection, the people who have networks will escape paying. Then the small guys, the people who have no connection, will end up paying. Because there are people in KRA who facilitate others not to pay. The next question Kenyans ask me is, how sure are we that our taxes will not be stolen by public officials sitting in ministries, departments, agencies, offices? So, and I intend to answer those two questions in my term. I intend to answer those two questions. And as I have said, I will take personal responsibility over the safety and the proper use of the public resources of the people of Kenya. It's the only way they can continue to legitimately pay their taxes. I do not wish to dwell at length on this matter because historically, so much has been said, yet so little has been done in dealing with the challenge of corruption in government. I just want to make the following commitment firmly and clearly. My office shall be responsible for ensuring effectiveness, efficiency, transparency, and accountability in the use of public resources. I shall therefore be personally involved in ensuring that Kenyans get their taxes worth of public services in full, and that none, regardless of status, steals or wastes public resources. On this matter, I would like to let my actions speak for me. And I think I have spoken with some measure of clarity. And I have not come here to threaten anybody. I have come here to speak to fellow workers. You know what I have said is true. It must stop somehow. It must stop. We have to do what we have to do. I know for sure that KRA can do better. I know we have men and women in KRA, men and women of integrity. I know they exist. I know they're there. And I know for sure that if there is a culture change in this organization, Kenya can be the better country that we all want to live in. And I am very confident that the hard-working people of Kenya have the capacity to manage their affairs. And we need to answer the questions that they ask us about integrity and accountability in the affirmative. We wouldn't have a problem with people paying taxes if they are fair, if everybody is paying, and if there are no people who are more equal than others. As I told the country, everybody, irrespective of status, will pay tax. It's the only instrument that we have to transform our country. As we prepare to mark the 60th anniversary of the Madaraka Day next week, I wish to urge KRA to join the rest of government in ushering a new era of integrity in the management of public resources, to give taxpayers value for their contribution and support the bottom-up economic transformation agenda as we seek to transform our nation. Otherwise, I am truly happy to have come here this morning. I am looking forward to, as we digitize government services, as we digitalize the whole of government approach, that Kenyans should be able to transact with government. Kenyans should be able to transact with KRA from the comfort of their homes, from the comfort of their offices, and that we can make tax paying an experience that all Kenyans look forward to doing, because we can account for every coin that they pay by making sure that we provide all the services that are due to the people of Kenya. So otherwise, nawashukuru sana, asanteni sana kwa kunikaribisha katika headquarters ya KRA, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I'm really looking forward to working with you so that we can make a difference in our country. Unfortunately, we do not have another country. This is all we have. And it is our collective responsibility, each and every one of us, to do our bit so that the many Kenyans out there can be proud of what we are doing. There are a couple of other things that I will share with the management, even as we move KRA to the next step. So, asanteni sana. As I have said, I really look forward to working with you in making sure that we work with the people of Kenya to give us the resources to implement the agenda that we have for our nation, and to ensure that even those who do not have jobs like the rest of us, we are also having plans on how we can create opportunities for employment, we can create opportunities for business, and we can support each other. Asanteni sana. God bless you. I am willing to answer a few questions if there are any questions for me. Kama kuna mtu wako na maswali? Hakuna yeah. Yes, there is a lady at the corner there. Asante sana. Patie microphone.
His Excellency Dr. Ruto, all the protocol observed. My name is Muila from DTD. I'm in Policy and Tax Advisory. Part of the job that we do is preparation of the finance bill. We are a very key team in that. My proposal is we do have a Taxpayers' Day, which happens in October of every year. I'm just proposing we also have the Tax Collectors' Day, maybe at State House. Just a proposal. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Since I have already been referred to as Zakayo in some areas, maybe we will have a Tax Collectors' Day. I think that's a good proposal. and we can all agree on how to collect tax with integrity. I think that's a good proposal, and I will consider. Do we have anybody else with a question? Are you confirming that everything I said was true? It's up. Yeah. Okay. Since, but I will find another opportunity to come, and maybe we can ask the media to leave, and then we can have a closed session. If anybody has, maybe there are people who want to. But I'm running short of time. Anyway, maybe I will get another opportunity to come so that we can. I really want us to have a candid conversation. Yeah? I really want us to have a candid conversation. Because what I am telling you, good people, it's okay, just leave them, because I don't think we can manage that. I don't think, well, I have not come here to make statements that I am not sure about. I know what I'm saying. And so it just cannot continue that way. It cannot continue that way. And we cannot continue to bury our heads in the sand that doesn't exist, because it does. And you know it does. So, tutakutana, tutaongea. Si namna hiyo? Na wale wanaendelea na hiyo biashara, I promise you, you will have to leave. I promise you, you cannot continue to do that in any government office. You will not be able to do it. So, tumeelewana vizuri. Asanteni sana, God bless you.